I've got a new script for setting properties for my Active Directory users, and my help desk staff have asked me if they're able to use it. Unfortunately, they don't have the correct permissions to be able to do that. So I'm going to use ScriptRunner to delegate this script to them. There's a couple of moving parts in all of this, so I'll step through each of them in turn, and the first is uploading the actual script itself. So I'll head into Scripts, and then choose Create. So the first thing to do is select my actual script file. That's just sitting here on my desktop, so I'll select that. And you'll see that it automatically fills out my file name as the file name on disk, but you're able to adjust that here, and that will affect how it appears in the script library within ScriptRunner. Next, you want to tag it so that it's easy to identify within ScriptRunner. And this is an Active Directory script, and it affects users. So I'll select the relevant tags for that, and then hit OK. So that's all there is to uploading the script. If we search for it within the script library, we can see that it's pulled up that we've got 23 parameters within there, and it's also added a couple of additional tags, dev and upload, in addition to the 2 tags that we specified. So before we can actually use this, we need to specify some queries. And these are going to help us fill out information in our delegated action on this script. So we'll head into Queries, and again hit Create. Now this is going to be an Active Directory query. And this first query is actually going to be gathering a list of valid OU paths within our domain. So what I mean by valid is in the TechSnips domain, we've got an OU under which we have various region OUs, and our users sit under those. And I only want our user to be able to select from those particular organizational units. So we'll leave this Enable Cascading property unticked. We'll come back to that in a moment. Then I'll head over to the next page, and here I'll define what I'm actually looking for. So as we already know, I'm looking for OUs, and I only want first level sub OUs. So for example, if I had a department OU underneath my location OU, it wouldn't return those department OUs. So I'll specify my search base, and that's my users OU, sitting partway down my domain structure. And I'm going to leave the parameter and display values as is. These are used to customize how the information is displayed back to the user. So I'm happy with this query, and I'll hit OK, and then I need to create another one. Again, this is an Active Directory one. And this time we're looking for usernames from AD. Now there's already a default query for this within ScriptRunner, but I want to adjust the output that my user sees. Again, I'll tag this query, and this time I will enable cascading. So cascading allows you to base the inputs to this query based on the outputs of a previous query. So in this case, our usernames are going to be filtered based on the organizational unit that we choose beforehand. I'll head over to my actual configuration. This time I'm looking for users rather than OUs. I'll leave my search base blank, as this is going to be specified by cascading. And then I'm going to change my display value to custom. And I actually want my display value to show the common name, followed by the user principal name of my user. So, happy with that query, click OK. And then we'll head into Actions, where we'll start tying this all together. So again, I'll click Create to fire up a new action. And the first step is specifying the script that we've uploaded. And that's here. And then we can name our action. Now I'm actually going to leave the display name as it is because I'm happy with it. But I am going to remove the automatic tags that were given to my script when I uploaded it, leaving just the Active Directory and user tags. And you'll notice that it's pulled through the help information from the script, and I'm happy with all of that, so I'll click over. And on the next screen, we have to select our target. And so for us, that's going to be the techsnips.local domain. This has already been configured, as we've got a number of actions that are targeting our domain. But if you do need to set one up, you do so via the targets option on the left-hand side of the screen. Next, we've got a bunch of PowerShell specific options here, and you can adjust these as needed if you're running into any issues, or you have specific modules that you need explicitly loaded. The only one I'm going to configure here is the execution timeout. Now this is good if you know that your script running for X amount of minutes means that it's not working and you should just kill it. Now I don't expect my script to be running this long, but I'll specify a timeout of 30 minutes anyway. On the next screen, I have to start specifying my parameters. So first of all, I'll select a parameter set. This just means that my users that I delegate this action to won't need to worry about it. And I'll set this to a local or a remote DC. And then we'll start defining our actual parameters. So the first one here, clicking the binoculars icon specifies that you want to use a query. And our first query is going to be our valid AD OU paths. And note, I've left make selected values editable unticked, as I only want the user to be able to select from a list and not specify their own values. Next, we'll do the same for username, which is our usernames from AD query. And given that we've got cascading turned on, we're then presented with a search base option. And we've only got one option, as there's only been one parameter defined so far, and that's our OU path. So I'll select that, meaning that our username from AD query is going to be scoped based on the path defined previously. I also don't want the username to be editable. So now I want to pull the given name and surname for a user that we select. And I'll use some of the out-of-the-box ScriptRunner queries for this. So we've got given name, search based on our username, and our surname, also based on the username. Now I don't want my help desk technicians to be able to edit either of these properties, but I do want them displayed. I'll gather that information, but not make them editable. However, I will let my help desk technicians edit display names and descriptions. Now, out of the box, ScriptRunner doesn't have queries for these, so I'm not able to quickly pull this information back for our help desk technicians. So it's possible that our technicians are going to enter values here and overwrite something existing. So for a real example, you might want to actually fill out queries for these if you're allowing them to be changed. I'll leave these switches in place so that they can be edited by our help desk technicians. And we'll come down here and start working through office, email address, phone, and title. All of these are going to be based on queries, and they will be editable by our staff. You'll notice as I go, this list of search base options expands as we work our way down the parameters. However, I do want them all to be scoped on the username. And in our specific case, there's no need to change the company name, street, postcode, or any physical locations. I also don't want my technicians to be able to change SAM account names. And there's a couple of other things at the end here that my technicians don't need to worry about either. So with all of the parameters configured, I'll head over to the next step where I can set result options and notifications. So I do want to set up an email notification where I'll send any errors through to a catch-all email address here at TechSnips. Then on the next screen, I can define a schedule. For this action, given it's an ad hoc update of information, there's no need or want to set a schedule. And then finally, I can adjust who this is delegated to and how it appears in my Delegation app. So by default, it's going to show as green. But for a point of difference, I'll make this purple. And you'll note that it's already been delegated to an Active Directory user creators group. And this is because we've tagged this action as a Active Directory action. And if I wanted to add additional tags, which then influences the delegation, I can add them here. I'm happy with the current delegation, so I'll go ahead and click OK. So now let's head over to the Delegation app to see how this would work for our help desk staff. Alright, so I'm in the Delegation app, and I'll head down to refresh, as this was open while I was making changes. And you can see that my new action has popped up, and it's the only purple square on the page. However, up the top here, I can go ahead and limit this display to only show Active Directory ones. And now again, you can see this action, which is again in purple, which we specified at the end of the action setup. So I'll click it to run it, and you'll see right off the bat, we've got 3 values available to us in the AD path. And these are our 3 organizational units sitting under the users OU, those being America, APAC, Europe. So I'll choose APAC, given that's where I'm from, and this has scoped our users down to 5. So you'll see those 5 users. If I go and change to a different OU, goes off and retrieves values, and now we've got 40 users. So we've got 40 users in America and only 5 in APAC. Go back to APAC and choose Liam, and all of the information that we have for him in AD will get pre-populated. So we see his given name, and we cannot edit it, his surname, which again we can't edit. We can, however, specify that he must change his password during the next login. And you'll see we've got these items here for his office, email address, telephone, user's title, user's department. And note that a lot of these don't currently have values in them. This means that this data isn't in Active Directory. And I didn't make them editable, so we can't actually edit them here to fill that data out. So let's head back to the admin app, and we'll go ahead and edit that action. We're automatically on our assigned parameter values, and we'll scroll down to office, email address, etc. And we'll make these values editable. Happy with that, click OK. Head back to our Delegation app and refresh just to make sure we've got the latest version. Head into our action, and we'll repeat that process again. So we'll choose APAC, we'll choose Liam, we get his given name and surname. We'll make it so that he has to change his password on next login. And now these fields aren't populated, apart from his department, but we can go ahead and edit them. So let's say that his office is in Hastings. He doesn't have an email address or phone, but his title is sales rep. And instead of his department being human resources, he's actually in sales. So we've filled out all of that information. Let's go ahead and click run. See on the splash screen that our action is now going and running. Alright, so that action completed successfully. And just to see that our changes were made, let's head over to Active Directory and check it out. Right, so I've jumped onto my domain controller and fired up users and computers. And I'll just refresh my APAC OU. And we'll open up Liam. We'll see that his office has been changed to Hastings as we specified. His job title is now sales rep in the sales department. And he must change his password at next login. So he successfully delegated a script to a user that doesn't have permissions to do it directly within Active Directory. And they were able to action this script with a nice web interface that we didn't have to code ourselves. So that's a success for all involved. Thanks for watching.